welcome to The Other Side. I'm your host, Kyla. We're Sports Talk Soul, and today I have my dear friend, Sierra.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know. I'm so happy to have you here. So I wanted to just hear more about your journey and where you wanted to start. I know you said you've been playing since you were a child. So I was just kind of to know how you kind of started into that. And you said you kind of were in co-ed, right? Started in that. So I just kind of like your take on it.
Yeah, so I can start from the beginning. I mean, my family is a sports family. My parents met working at Dodger Stadium.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. So
What?
pretty non-discriminate sports fans.
Yeah.
So growing up, I have three other siblings, and we've all been pushed into sports from the moment we can walk. Even before that, bath toys, sports themed, everything.
Yeah.
So my early trying to count on my hands, the points and getting upset when people weren't following the rules. So from there, my parents put me in our youth league, so CYBA, Cameroon Youth Basketball. Played that, and it was just third through fifth grade girls. Did that, and I was consistently on the all-star team and getting to have a big role on those teams. So when I hit middle school, we decided maybe we should try out the local travel team, which is called the Dons in Cameroon. It was a big deal.
Watch out.
It was a big deal at the time. And so I practiced with them, and I tried out for their middle school team, and I actually didn't make it my first year. And this was upsetting for a couple different reasons. For my mom, she's like, "Oh my gosh, you got snubbed," all of these things. I was at this point, I don't think the competitiveness had really set in.
Okay, yeah.
But we had some friends who were super involved. My parents got close with the different coaches of the different leagues. He was like, Sierra's a little younger, so she can actually play with the younger team, just based on birthdays and everything. And so I had the opportunity to play with the fifth grade team, fourth and fifth grade, just age-wise, and ended up playing with them for years and years, traveling to different states, to different parts of California, and we were good, and it was really exciting.
How long did you do that for?
So that travel team, most of middle school,
Okay.
I played with them, and it was intense. We had a really intense coach. My parents were really invested. It's
Okay.
it's really starting to take off and be real competitive basketball.
Yeah. Do you feel at that point, when you were experiencing it, basketball became a big staple in your life, or was it already just building more into that?
I mean, it's hard to do anything else. When
Yeah.
you're playing. So at that point, I also was playing on my middle school team. So you're playing during the school year, and then you're also expected to be on this travel team during the summer. You're traveling every weekend. I don't know how my parents did it.
Oh, wow. Because you have two other siblings, right?
Three.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, three. So, and you said it's a sports family too. So, all of you guys must be in something, right?
Yeah.
Was it just you that found that interest in basketball, or did your siblings kind of follow in that, or did you kind of get that inspiration from them?
Yeah, so my parents had a rule that all of us had to play a sport through eighth grade.
Me too. No, that's what my mom said. My mom was like, whatever sport, I don't care. We just need to play one.
Yeah, and you just got to see it through. So both my sibling and my brothers both played through eighth grade. My little brother ended up switching to volleyball. My other sibling just was like, finally, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then my
waiting for it to be eighth grade.
Yeah. And then my older brother, he started high school playing three sports. He did football, baseball, and basketball.
Wow.
And they dropped football after the first year, but he played two sports his whole rest of his high school career.
Wow.
So we all loved basketball growing up. It was so fun, something that united us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was the one that was doing those travel, and they get expensive, really quickly.
Yeah, and to maintain it too, to just keep going. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When you talk about co-ed too, and what you were noticing, and what was triggering you in those moments, did you feel? Because I know you said that your competitiveness kind of locked in more when you were in middle school, but kind of already having that competitive energy at 5, 6, 7 years old. Did you what does competitive look like to you then, and as your journey, how did that evolve for you?
Yeah, I think ultimately, even from a young age, just a respect for the game and something that I was, there are rules for a reason, and people who are good at manipulating them, the good footwork, getting to the rim without doing, double dribbles or whatever. And at that age, nothing is that advanced.
Yeah. You're at the Y. You're at the Y. No, nothing against the Y. But like you're at the YMCA. I mean, how competitive? You can only get so competitive, right? At the Y.
I mean, adults get competitive at the Y.
It's the adults.
But
It's the parents.
the 5, 6, 7-year-olds are less competitive at the Y. So at the time I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I felt that just like respect for the competition, and everyone's following the rules and everyone's like trying their best. I'm like, okay, the winner is the winner.
Yeah.
Like they earned that. And I think just getting older too, like just really, I can't think of a better word than respect. Like,
Yeah.
especially as, going into college and skipping steps in high school and whatnot, but like getting to play at Cal and play against girls who were the best,
Yeah.
like in the nation.
You said you were in level 1, right? At
Yeah.
UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Division I basketball, they're McDonald's All-Americans on my team. We're playing against girls who were the best in their state. And now they're, all concentrated in these 5 leagues.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh.
And
That's
so,
such a journey.
yeah. And so it makes it so exciting. It's like, how could you not be so like thrilled to play there and like want to be your best every day? Like, it's not just the games, it's the showing up. It's like,
Yeah.
how am I going to be the best at this skill? How am I going to, grow in this way? Because everyone else is too.
Yeah.
So,
And the challenges that you're facing individually or as a team too, and how that gets evolved as well in that too. I'm sure just as you get stronger and the more obstacles and everything that you face, it's a lot. So I commend you for that. That's a
thank
lot.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you of like when, like since sports has kind of always been in your family, of when it like really clicked for you personally. Like, did it start like when you first started 5 years old, or was it like when you traveled? Was it when you were at UC Berkeley? Like when you really just like felt that passion for it?
Yeah. I mean, I think in middle school, like that team when I was on the Dons, like I'm still friends with those girls today. Like it felt so serious, but also so fun. And like the opportunities I think that basketball presented were really obvious. Like those were some of like the biggest wins. Like I have pictures on my mom's Facebook of us with big trophies where we won like major tournaments and got to upset teams that had, more funding or came from bigger, metropolitan areas and that sort of thing. And so I think that really carried into like my high school experience. And I started out on JV, so like junior varsity in high school. And I really felt what it was like when you put in the work. I found a club team called the 805 that I was working with, and we were practicing outside. And we were, doing, he'd call it, my coach George, he would call it insanity workouts, where it'd be like an hour of like cardio and push-ups and running.
Yeah.
And it felt like, I was putting in this work and I was getting the return. Like I could feel myself getting better and competing and growing. And that just, I mean, there's nothing quite like it. I think that just created like this snowball that, I could keep going with this. And it felt so good, like the return on it.
Yeah. And like just the accomplishment you're having with yourself, like how you're showing up for who you are and like what you're loving and like proving that to yourself. When you talk about like making it on these big teams and like starting at like, did you do all-stars in the middle school, or was that just like you were on like the top team, or like what was your title like in that?
Yeah. So on that team, it wasn't really necessarily all stars because we were going to different leagues. I think we might have been in like a central league, but it was less cut and dry. I think JV, like when I was playing, I think, obviously it hurts, right? Not getting to make varsity as a freshman. And like it wasn't super common at my school anyway to be able to do that. But was able to perform well my freshman year. I think I like either had a perfect free throw shooting percentage or something close to it, and was able to really perform in that way. And then through high school, got different like league accolades and that sort of thing, especially when I went to CIF, different awards there. So got the opportunity to, really make something for myself in a way. And
not only I feel like are you getting these opportunities, but you're taking advantage of them. Like you see the opportunity and you're grabbing it and you're making something of yourself with it. And that's what's really amazing too. Like, yeah, I love it. And so with going and starting with co-ed and then kind of transitioning into an all girls, did you see any like differences? I mean, I knew you were playing at a young age, so it's kind of hard to kind of compare. But if you did notice anything, or as you have been in these high divisions of witnessing it from, an outer perspective.
Yeah, I think something that stands out just as I've gotten older, and especially like at Cal, you do have that relationship with the men's team, and I'm sure it's similar at other schools. But just knowing like even the gameplay is different. I
Mhm.
think the divide in women's athleticism isn't as great as it can be in the men's side. So, for example, like the dunking aspect,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Or like people towering over other people or being so much faster or so much stronger. I think the margins are just so much tighter in
Mhm.
women's basketball that people are craftier, they're smarter. The gameplay is more strategic in my mind than, someone muscling someone out of the way. That's
Yeah.
just less likely,
Yeah.
and it's not really the game that people are playing. So I think women's basketball is just more fun to watch because of that strategic aspect.
Mhm.
There's, criticisms from all sides on both types of gameplay, but that's what always resonated to me as the biggest difference. And then I think as an adult, like looking for, open gyms or playing with men is just so physical and not my necessary like favorite thing
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. Do you think that when you've played with so many teams and with women, that you have seen it like more of the mental side of the game that you're focused on and how you're going to create those plays rather than the physical, that you're asserting your body? Like you feel more mentally like aware and kind of applying yourself there than physically in the game.
Yeah, I mean, even when I think about like a big thing in like when we run our scouts, preparing for a certain type of player,
Mm,
coming off a screen, and you're playing different players differently. If they're not as strong of a outside shooter, you'll go under the screen,
mm,
or you might switch if they're not necessarily planning to attack, or that sort of thing. And getting over a screen is like its own art because you're shimmying through this like really tiny area trying to stay with your player even though they're doing their darndest to rub you off on some massive post who's setting a screen that hopefully is coming. And like when I think about the way that we had to do that, like it's technique. It's getting as close as you can. It's shimmying, it's finding the angle, it's using like it's this much, actual muscle, and the rest of it is footwork, strategy, that sort of thing. And so that's like a small example, but when I think about the strategic aspect, I just think women's basketball just does it better cuz you have to.
I agree. I mean, it is known that women are more emotionally mature. So, I mean, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
um, Something I'm really excited to talk about with you that you had mentioned as we were coordinating this is your walk on story. And I think it's so fascinating that you got accepted into UC Berkeley academically. And then you had almost like this long tryout run over the summer that earned your spot on the team, right? Which was the Division One. And so please take me on that journey because that is so interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I can start in high school again. Like I was playing on the school team and we
Yeah.
were a great team. We did well in league. I grew a lot. I got the opportunity to be on varsity and, get league honors and get team honors and that sort of thing. And that was incredible. But I learned early it's not enough to be on the school team. Like when you're thinking about long term and the competitiveness and everything, there's so many girls in the world and only so many like spots playing college basketball. So that's where, the club team came in middle school, but also the 805 came in when I was in high school. And like I mentioned, like practicing outside, we were practicing against boys. We were doing these crazy workouts. I was getting yelled at. We were doing push-ups on the side.
Can I cut you off for a second? When you
Yeah.
say outside, I feel like you have like this emphasis on it. So like what is it like practicing outside and you're doing these like almost like CrossFit like workouts where, very intense. And so kind of like what have you noticed of the difference like when you're explaining that of the intensity when you're working out outside and dealing with those conditions?
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many layers to it on the types of teams that are out there, especially as, NIL grows and people really see collegiate sports as this cash cow, and there has to be a pipeline. And a lot of people are really making a lot of money off of selling this dream to their kids, right? And so I feel like growing up, there definitely was that machine already in motion. But growing up in Ventura County, like the availability of gyms is different than being in LA or being in, another more populated area. And then also just the cost. Like it can be so expensive for gym time, for travel, for everything. And so to be on like a local 805 team, when I say practice outside, it was this little park in Ventura that had either 2 or 3 basketball courts. I can't remember now. I want to say 3. And literally I'd bring like my running shoes and I'd bring my court shoes, and I had my outdoor ball, and my coach would bring a bunch of outdoor balls, and he would get there early to kick off the grown men that were there.
Yeah.
And part of it would be literally like running around, and it was like, you fall, you get scraped like badly.
Yeah.
The rims are double, so your shot has to be better. It's slippery. And like it was kind of a no excuses, because it didn't matter if we had a gym available. Like you kind of got in where you fit in. Like we're practicing 4, 5, 6 days out of the week, plus like, my school team. It's no excuse if there's no gym. And so we practice in all different corners of Ventura County. George, my coach, like pulling favors and, showing up at those places. And I feel like the park ones, like, luckily,
Like rain or shine, you better show up.
yeah. And we're doing these insanity workouts. So like we're on a grass field, and like he's saying, huh, like when we need to hit a burpee, like I'm jumping up and down. Like I had to pull over and like, take deep breaths to make sure my
like I gotta secure this mentee D I'm about to have. I feel
yeah. Yeah. It really felt like a mental like test and fortitude.
And it tests to like your physical like strength and just what limits your body is going to and how you respond to that.
Yeah. And you're like 15, 16. Like,
Oh yeah.
you're
Oh,
also,
yeah.
you're a teenage
I know,
girl.
I'm like giving it to you right now. You're like, she's got it. No, no, absolutely.
Yeah. You're a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And like, you're going to school, and like, you're worried about like the clothes that you're wearing, and you're worried about your math test, and you're worried about like a billion things going on. And then like I got my driver's license, and I'm sure I failed 3 times before I got my license. Terrible.
Wait, stop.
Terrible.
You did.
So
Did you, like the written test and the actual driving test? Which like where are we talking?
on the driving test, like at the written one, I passed.
How many points can you miss off the driving test?
So I did get critical errors, which are automatic fails every single time.
Critical errors every time.
So
Wait, hold on. What were these critical errors? Was it like consistent at least? Like you were showing up the same way each time, or like what was it?
they would all be going so well, and then I'd just do something silly. Like one of them it was like a green arrow, then a yellow arrow, and I thought it was going to be a red arrow next. And the arrow disappears, and it's just like an unprotected left. And I stopped behind the line. And he was like, that's not how you make a left turn. You're going to have to continue through and then make the left. And obviously, I know how to make a left turn. Similar stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well, so circling back, you failed 3 times.
I finally get my license, and I'm sure my parents were like, yes, because I could drive myself to these
Yeah,
practices.
they're like, finally. I know we said 8th grade. They're like, okay, it's time.
Yeah. So like my 2 hours sometimes in the car, like
Yeah.
up to Santa Barbara, or, an hour to Ventura in traffic hours, that sort of thing. And just like getting there and showing up. But all of that contributed to, one, me getting so much better. Like I was competing against girls that were bigger, better, stronger, faster. And I was held to that
I'm
standard.
sorry, just remind me of that one song. No, that's good. Song. I just quoted it.
Oh, literally.
Wow. Is that Daft Punk? Daft Punk? Who sings that? Na, they don't kill. No.
I think
Wait,
that's Kanye West. Yeah.
I was just saying. I don't know. I feel like I'm combining 2 songs right now. Anyway, yeah, built you stronger, faster.
Yeah. All the things
all the
in
lyrics.
the song. Yeah. So not only that, it definitely translated to like my high school, and there was interest, right, from scouts, mostly like D2, D3, and D2 and D3, there's no knock to it, but they can't give you full scholarships. It's like very incredibly rare. I'm honestly not sure if they're allowed to. So you can get in, and they can assist you with getting in, but they might be able to give you, something partial, or sometimes not at all. And so when I was thinking about like what opportunities were sort of presenting themselves in those realms, they weren't as good of academic schools as I was hoping to go to for college. Like I had no expectations that I was going to be playing professional basketball and that this is going to be my, jumping pad for that. So the idea of, I guess, giving up like the academic prowess that I had been working so hard towards on the school side of things for a basketball dream just felt like it wasn't true to myself. So in my senior year, I had kind of been at peace with that. Moving away, I'd done, unofficial visits and scoped it out. I was like, you know what? It's okay. I've loved my journey. I love playing basketball. I love basketball. I'm going to follow it. I'll keep playing. It's okay.
And you had that sense of gratitude, like, and you had that acceptance, and you felt okay with it. And I think that just goes with like the relationship and security you have with yourself, and like being able to be honest and reflect, and move forward into the path you're going on to next. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So at that point, Cal was actually the only school in California I applied to.
Really, that was the only one. What were
Yeah.
the other schools you applied to?
I applied to Tulane. I applied to a couple in Oregon and Washington. I had applied to a couple Ivy League schools, Johns Hopkins, Georgetown. Trying to think, it feels so long now, but I was convinced. I was like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
I need to get out of California. I need to get.
It's funny, in the one school you applied to.
Yeah, and it's my dad's from Berkeley. My grandma still lives there. My aunts and uncles, they all live there, and so yeah, just kind of threw my name in the hat. I wrote my application really quickly, like a couple days before the deadline. And when I got in and when I saw the financial aid, I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to do this. There's no way. And I was excited about it and ready and good to go. And so I had told everybody, I was like, this is it. I was like,
I've made it.
yeah, my aunt and uncle were so generous. They're like, we can visit some of the other schools. Like we can make some trips out of it, like my other acceptances. And I was like, no. Like we're good. Like I'm going to go here. And of course was telling like my coaches about it, and my coach George, I remember telling him, and he's like, congratulations. That was one thing he would always tell me. He's like, you're too smart to be doing something so stupid. Like if I was messing up on the court. And so he's like, of course you're going to like this great school. I might have a connect there. Like, do you mind if I like, reach out to her? Maybe we send her some film, that sort of thing. And I was like, you know what, George,
Come on.
like
George was curious.
George was curious. He was like,
I was so bad. I'm sorry.
he was like, I can't help myself. Like, let me just send it. I was like, you could do whatever you want.
Yes, George.
This feels like the most unlikely thing that's ever going to happen.
And you're already like, yeah, like I'm cool. I'm in. And like, I'm cool with what's going on right now. So like, did it feel like just like a bonus, or like just an opportunity that you were excited to have if you did get it?
Yeah. I mean, it honestly felt so abstract because, like I said, I was so at peace and like grateful. And I know that like basketball had already contributed to so much joy in my life, and even like how well I'd done academically, I could attribute to like the lessons I'd learned from basketball and how I could apply them to other places. And yeah, so it literally just felt so beyond scope, everything. So I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. My dad was like, okay, I'm going to pull your best stuff and we're going to package it all up and we're going to send it. And I remember at the time, I think we were mostly corresponding with Deli. Shout out Deli. He was an assistant coach at the time at Cal, and he was the one who like gave it a look over. And working with Lindsay, they were like, yeah, sure. Like if you're going to be on campus, like you can meet the team and we can chat it through. And, if you can, like you can come, I think it was some date in June. And I graduated like end of May.
Yeah.
So it was shortening my summer by about 3 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So we met the team. It was so awkward. I was like, they have no clue who I am. I'm just this random girl. I had no clue what was going on. Everyone was so nice.
See, that's nice. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. It was just like a little parade. Like they're all working out. I'm like, hi, I might be here. If like, I don't know.
Just might see me again.
Yeah, you might not though.
Yeah, who knows?
And then fast forward, I come early. I'm like, okay. Like it literally feels like I've just spawned, like,
Yeah. Like
in,
kind of like thrown into something that's unknown. Like you just, yeah.
yeah. And like I show up and they give me a little temporary locker and they give me all the gear. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like how many pairs of shoes do I need for a summer? Like 2 different types of running shoes, 3 different types of basketball shoes, shorts, shirts, everything. I'm like, even if I don't do anything beyond this, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
I love how you're grateful for every experience you have. Like you're not looking for more. You're happy with what you're getting and receiving, and you're immersing yourself into that. Like it's one thing to be grateful for everything that you have and then continuously receiving things and being grateful for that, but also like you're not expecting anything and you're putting your all into it and making the most of it. And so I just think that's such a great quality to have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and literally the whole time I was like, this is such a crazy experience because
Yeah.
even like the schools that I had been looking at, I don't think it would have been anywhere near like the Division 1 experience is
Mhm.
really separate. And so, yeah, I remember even I might have even been a little delayed in like actually getting on the court because I was 17 when I started college and my mom needed to fill out some forms and I couldn't go out there. I was like, sorry, we were waiting on my mom to figure out how to use DocuSign.
Form. I feel like there's always a form. It's like, well, you need to have the sign, and then you never find the paper.
Yeah. So finally got out there. I remember the very first week, everyone was so nice and so supportive. And I was like, you guys do not know me. Like, you literally don't know me. And I was getting invites, to go and do stuff after, like, for people to show me around, that sort of thing. And I was like, I really like these girls. Like, they're so cool. The workouts were insane.
But like more insane than what you were doing. Like, what would you say was the difference in that intensity and almost like where you felt mentally challenged in that and physically?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to like be working out really hard, I think on the court, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing a lot of drills or it's very physical, that sort of thing. But it's really like the weightlifting and the cardio aspect of a Division 1 basketball summer
Mm-hmm.
that it's pretty like 1-to-1. Whereas like what I was used to in high school was like your cardio was maybe 10%, 15%, like you do a couple of suicides or ladders or whatever they're using these days, ladders at the end of practice. Showing my age. Doing some ladders at the end of practice. And then now I'm like, wait, when are we going to actually play? Because we've been lifting for an hour. We're going to go do cardio for 45 minutes. And then maybe we'll get on some shots up, like at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I even going to make it to then?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And my first week, it was a Friday. Our Fridays were early. They were like 6 a.m. because when you finish, you've got the whole weekend. We all like voted on it. We're like, yes, let's do the early one.
Yeah.
And I remember we did stairs that day and I excused myself afterwards. I went and found like a little niche little bathroom and I threw up.
Oh.
And I kept that to myself. I was really like, I finished out the day. And as I was walking home from this workout, I called my mom. I was like, there's no way I can do this for 4 years. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
If they let me stay, there's no way I can do it. And she's like, it's your first week. You just have to see it through. So fast forward, continuing through the summer, it never got easier. I mean,
Like looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, could not find it.
yeah, I was like, I got stronger, but didn't get easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's towards the end of the summer, and I think maybe one of my teammates made a comment because I was wearing like an unmarked jersey, like there was no number, and I was like, "Girl, I'm not on the team." And so
Don't get it twisted.
and so I remember like soft launching it to our director of basketball operations. So we call them our Dobo lovingly, Jill. Jill.
George.
And I was like, Jill, will I be getting a number? And it was kind of like a way of me asking, will I be staying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's like a good segue. That's like pretty subtle though. Like, yeah, so I was just thinking about my number.
Yeah. And I'm like preparing myself, because who am I? Resources are not unlimited. Like I'm another girl that they were not planning on, 6 months ago. And she was like, I need to talk to Lindsay, our head coach. I was like, sure, naturally you do.
Yeah.
And then I just remember like we were all in the office, everyone was standing there and we were kind of just like celebrating a successful summer workout and we're starting official practices soon. She's like, and Lindsay was like, I also just wanted to announce that Sierra's officially joining us. And I just remember, like, one, I went like bright red. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know we were saying this to everyone. But everyone literally like erupted and were like jumping and hugging me. And it was just like stuff out of a dream, honestly.
And
And
to
it,
have that community like right off the bat and to be welcomed with open arms. I mean, I feel like that, I mean, for you, did that create like just an easier process for you or like make you feel more welcome and just like, especially like having a home like that where that's what you're doing 5, 6, 7 days a week. And then like having that built in already. I mean, like what did that mean to you?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like basketball, I love basketball, but like if you don't love your team, like it is
Hmm.
work. It
Yeah.
is work. And I'm so grateful. Like in that first year, I made so many friends that I'm to this day best friends with. Text, call.
Yeah.
One of my friends from my first year just moved to LA, Kiana.
Oh,
I was helping her move yesterday, and
wait,
it's
how
like
sweet.
she and I only had like a year of overlap, and
Hmm.
it's so intense, the amount of time that you're spending together, the lengths that you're going to, the traveling, the all of it.
And all the
And
emotions you feel, and like when you have a lack of sleep, lack of energy, a lack of food, all of the factors that come into that and to maintain your composure too.
yeah, and like, it's hard to have other friends too because your schedule is so crazy and it's so easy to, go to basketball and then, oh, I don't have class now, you don't have class now. Let's go hang out. And you spend like 18 hours of your day with the same people, and to want to choose to do that, I think is such like an incredible experience, and definitely rings true for my experience all 4 years.
Yeah.
Just amazing friendships. And yeah, like just in that moment, I feel like that giddiness around, oh my gosh, like this is my team and this is who I get to be with every day, just continued the whole time I was there.
That's amazing. I love that. That's wonderful. Your walk-on story is just so interesting and so unique. And so hearing it, I appreciate you, explaining that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Um, there are some things that I know come with the play of the game and everything, and that's the physical injuries that you endure and experience. And I know we had talked about a surgery that you had to go through. Can you kind of tell me more about that? And, after playing and dedicating so many years into basketball and then having this recovery period and the pain physically and mentally, emotionally, like how did you kind of pick yourself up after those injuries too?
Yeah, so I would say like there were two major, like physical things that came up when I was playing. One of them happened in high school. I was going up for a rebound, got my leg swept out from under me,
Mm.
and landed on my right hip incredibly hard.
Ow.
And it was so beyond painful in the moment. And then through the next however many years that I played basketball after that injury, like 7 years, they never quite sat at the same level, which means
Mm.
your thighs are super tight, your hamstrings are super tight, your back hurts, your hips hurt. And it just makes it hard to run. It hurts when
Yeah.
people bump into you, which is like half of basketball.
Yeah.
And there were just times when it was just excruciating.
Oof.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a physical game, like,
Mhm.
and using your body in the best way possible, but like the bumps into the back, I just could not overcome in the same way. And so it felt like I was always in PT. I was always getting my hips or my legs yanked on to balance out my hips. I was doing wraps, I was doing stimulation. And so putting in all this extra work just to kind of get to baseline and get to a point where it still hurt, but it was doable and I could go to
Yeah.
practice and everything was definitely difficult. And something that I struggled with just throughout my time there, like the wrong bump could just set me back.
Oh
And
yeah. Like weeks, months, just from like a single contact from another player.
yeah, and we did the MRIs, we did the scans, but it was nothing. There's nothing really to do when it's at that point just super muscular. So like my hips might be off, and all of these muscles are tightening, and so you can take muscle relaxers till the cows come home. But a lot of it was just work, and so that was always a struggle and something that I might miss parts of practice, or I might have to take you know a seat for certain drills because they were so contact heavy. And then the other thing that I struggled with, and this was my last year, was basically I caught a flu, cold, maybe some early something, and it was this sinus infection that never went away.
Did you ever had like a history of anything with like sinus issues? Because I know sometimes people have like prolonged migraines and things like that. Was that something that you ever had history with, or did this kind of come on just kind of out of nowhere?
So it was something that I hadn't really connected to anything else, but I mean, I did ultimately have to get surgery for
Mm-hmm.
like the sinus issues, and then realizing like when I would get sick, I would be sick for weeks. I'd have this horrible cough. I couldn't breathe. I would just be blowing my nose for hours. It would be so hard to sleep, migraines, everything. And then ultimately, it ended up being diagnosed as chronic sinusitis. I tried every type of antibiotic you could try. I missed travel trips because I couldn't get on a plane because it'd just be too much
Oh,
pressure.
yeah, that's awful.
The migraines, like it felt
Oof.
like I couldn't keep my eyes open. It was
Yeah, the
incredibly,
pain you feel in your, oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, and like running, like it felt like my whole head was just like bonging when
Yeah.
every step. And so when I finally got the surgery and like had to, and I waited until the end of the season to do that. And my teammates were incredible and came to my house and sat with me while I was literally gushing blood from my nose. As you do for about a week after
Oh,
on pain meds. Apparently, we watched a bunch of shows that I don't remember
yeah, no,
watching, but
completely just wiped out.
the memories are positive.
Yeah, yeah, memories are positive. The feeling was there.
Yeah, yeah, very
Yeah.
positive. But doing that, and since recovering from that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get sick and then I take some vitamin C and I get some rest and then I'm good. Like half a week later, a week later. And so thinking about, oh my gosh, like if I had realized this sooner, you
Mhm.
know, I might not have missed so many games. Like my last year playing basketball, it might not have like tainted that in that
Mhm.
way. But ultimately, like it can be anything. I mean, thinking about all of the female athletes, like it's so common for ACL tears. I mean, anything with the
Yeah.
knee,
Yeah.
and just thanking my lucky stars that I didn't have to go, you know, under the knife for something like that that would
Mhm.
require even more physical therapy than I already had to do for my back. Like, yeah, just incredibly grateful because it's scary. There's so
Yeah,
many.
yeah. You seem to be someone that sees things with the glass half full too. And I think it's really important and crucial in sports where you have something that is so competitive and physically um, hard and where you have that contact. When you like missed out on that last game too, like what emotions did you go through and how did you get through that? And like with the positivity and gratitude you had up to that point, did that shift? Did it adjust or did you kind of have to have more reflection within yourself? What did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, that last year was tough just because, you know, it feels silly. Like I have a stuffy nose and I can't go to Arkansas where we're playing, you know, I think they're ranked at the time. Like it's a huge game for
Yeah.
us. And I just couldn't. And like to be at that point where your body is just like, no.
Hmm.
And after pushing so hard, it definitely was frustrating in a way. And, you know, like you have so many like medical professionals around you as an athlete, but you know, there's not ENTs
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
and trying to figure that out like you know, and not knowing that it could be something that could be fixed with the surgery and going through so many rounds of antibiotics where I'd feel better for a couple weeks and then be sidelined the next.
Hmm.
It was just it was just frustrating and
Yeah.
hard and yeah, like I remember practices where I had to leave because I physically couldn't catch my breath
Yeah.
on travel trips. I'm like, dang, I came all the way out here to not dress and sit because I don't feel good enough to. So hard like I I'm not big enough to say that I was totally okay
Yeah, yeah.
with
Well, you're
it.
human too. It's like you're gonna feel all those things, but it's like how you picked yourself back up, and you've done that beautifully.
Yeah, and I think my teammates really just contributed to my sanity at that point, and then we also just had the most amazing practice team. So those who aren't familiar, this is really common in Division One women's basketball programs, and even in pro women's programs, is they'll find guys from open gyms and you know like local guys at Cal. They were students who are passionate about basketball. Maybe they played in high school or middle school or recreationally, and want to come and help out the women's team. And so they're our practice guys. Like they are rebounding, they're passing, they're playing defense. It is a tough job to be in because they're emulating being college women and not college men.
Mhm.
And they're there the whole practice time, whether they're being utilized or not. There's no glory in it. If they're
Yeah.
doing too well, you guys need to dial it back. If you know they're not going hard enough, like, are you making them better?
Yeah.
So finding that level, and we had such an amazing community of practice guys at Cal. And so even when I was home, like on that trip where they went to Arkansas, or there's another where they went to San Diego, um, you know, the guys coming over and we were watching the game at my house,
Yeah.
or that sort of thing.
Yeah,
And
making the most of it too, and
yeah,
like you've said, of how important community is, and the support from that. I feel like sounds like it made it easier too, like going through that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just a crazy way for things to
Yeah.
end, but again, just an amazing team that I was on. And I think also as a walk on, a lot more of my contributions were during practice and showing up in practice and, being like emulating being another player or something like that.
Mhm.
So it didn't feel so terrible that I wasn't, in the games because it's not like I was going to play so much anyway.
Mhm.
But always hard to be separate from your team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, going through all those different emotions and experiences. And something that you did mention that you've experienced along the way, that I heard you say is joy. So having joy in the game and in this journey of your career with basketball. And my question is like, do you feel that you were striving more for joy or contentment? Because sometimes I feel like joy can be something that people chase for, or like the pursuit of happiness, where contentment can be a little bit more quieter in that inner peace that you have within yourself. Was there something more that you strive to have more or experienced, kind of when you compare those two different emotions?
That's a great question. I would definitely say like joy, because ultimately if you're settling for like contentment or being okay or just being good enough or just making, enough shots to, you know, get by, I feel like this system and like that schedule will eat you alive. Like you really have to be striving for greatness, for joy, to be present, to be positive. Because if you're because even if you're aiming for that or you're experiencing that and it falls a little short on an odd Thursday where you did really crappy on your bio test because it's Berkeley and the school is so hard, and then you have to show up and get yelled at for a couple hours before you can go home
Yeah.
and think about if I need to drop a class or not.
Yeah.
Um, like
My gosh. Yeah. So many things at once.
so many things at once. Like I feel like the joy piece was definitely what kept me going. And I think, and I only played at one school, so I can only speak for that. But our team was just fun. Like, you're in the locker room and people are joking and laughing and looking forward to seeing each other, and people are getting each other random gifts, and people are jumping out from corners and like surprising people. And even at the gym, like we're playing music, people are taking requests, like, it's serious and physical, but people are cracking jokes, and like that, is what keeps everyone at least as close to sanity as
Yeah.
possible
Yeah.
as they're navigating it. So yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to go more into a little bit of how society sometimes can treat men and women in the same sport. And I did some research, with kind of emotional growth and intelligence, and everything that comes up with your emotions and what you feel. And so there's this book by Mark Brackett. It's called Permission to Feel, and there's something in there where he talks about that as society tells us that when women express intense emotions or have that physical appearance of going through that, that we are kind of looked at publicly losing control or being penalized for expressing something like that. But then when you see men on the court, and I see it all the time when I watch the playoffs and when I'm watching the finals, it's like just another average Sunday. Like it's just an everyday thing that like it's totally kind of glossed over. But kind of how that behavior, if you've witnessed it or experienced it, of the differences and what you can get away with, and not like get away with, but like that is either looked down upon versus like where a man, it is just completely overlooked.
Yeah. I think, I mean, you say it well, right? Like just the rhetoric around women being competitors versus men being competitors and getting vocal with the refs and perhaps getting more in people's faces when there's something, that might not have been super clean or, someone's trying to get away with something and, it's not getting called. And it's hard to say because, from my perspective, I never felt like, when I was in it that anyone had gone so far beyond like what was
Yeah.
acceptable, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
watching it, I'm like, no, yeah, like you need it
Valid.
valid,
Yeah.
and I'm validating everything that I'm seeing, and so to take that step back, though, I mean, I feel like in the media we see competitors, and it's so easy for people to say like that's not sportsmanlike when it's a woman doing it. And I think something, as we've seen like this boom in college basketball and in professional women's basketball as well, is people getting excited about it. I mean, I even saw someone say it's like, there's a WNBA Centel account now,
Stop.
which is like
Okay.
someone just trolling,
Yeah.
WNBA stuff and honestly spreading misinformation. But like people are able to joke and women can be it can get ugly and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. These girls aren't supermodels. I mean, minus Angel Reese, but like these 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 girls are there to compete and play
Yeah.
basketball and like they are going to do a great job at it if you let them and not, pick apart every micro everything. And I think that rings true. I mean, Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, they have their own, you see the clips of people telling them that they're being terrible sports for calling out unfair calls. I think it transcends basketball to every sport. It's so easy for, anybody to point and say that's not sportsmanship.
Yeah. And it's subjective too. It's like, what you may see is this. Well, like, I think it can be subjective depending, but like, obviously there are the calls where it's like, okay, yeah, that's not okay, but like the way that people will look at that too, it's like, yeah, I think that's valid. And someone else could say, no, I don't think that was okay. So it just depends too, I think, on those situations, but just kind of how I've noticed of men and women and how that's been a little different. So thank you for giving me your take on that because it's definitely, especially you being having that first hands-on experience.
Yeah, and especially when I think about like the critiques you can have of people, right? Like,
Hmm.
why don't we talk about their jumper or, the fact that they can't really dribble with their left hand under pressure or like that they're
Yeah.
the easiest trap in the league. Like, why are we going straight to, oh, it's not sportsmanlike?
Yeah,
It's like
exactly. Very quick to say things without actually looking at all of the mitigating factors in that.
yeah, like come up with an actual thing like related to their gameplay. I
Hmm.
mean, that's what they're doing.
Exactly.
Like I don't know, it feels so out of left field to make that sort of comment. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, it's not
almost
really.
impulsive too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's too easy. It's not really, I don't know. It's a lazy.
Yeah, and it's not black and white. There's so much more in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Um, and so through your journey and you saying, you've been doing this since you were a young child, what does burnout look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the most obvious example is just playing through COVID and some leagues like the Ivy League, they just shut down. They said we're not playing. We're not putting our players in that position. We're not running a league where we're not going to have fans, that sort of thing. And our team decided to play. And so there was a lot of teams opting in, opting out, and then individual players opting in, opting out. And so our team opted in, and playing during COVID was honestly one of the most difficult experiences of my life, just incredibly isolating. So every single morning, I was getting tested for COVID. I was going to the gym and swabbing my nose so I could get cleared for afternoon practice. We had masks on. Only people who had been cleared were allowed in the gym. I didn't see other athletes. I didn't see friends that I didn't live with. I barely saw my family. I didn't go home for Christmas that year.
Mm.
And so when I think about burnout, that was such a clear example because when I think about how my cup gets filled, and that's hanging out with my friends, that's hanging out with my teammates outside of practice, that's, me going to class and like being a student and enjoying like student activities that are outside of athletics. And so to be in this situation where I was on Zoom classes, getting tested in the morning, going to practice. Not I wasn't even really allowed to see my teammates outside of these schedules. We'd go on travel trips. We'd be in our own rooms. We couldn't have more than 2 people in the elevator at a time. We ate meals by ourselves. Every single aspect of it was so beyond isolating. And so the burnout there was just it I don't know, it felt like
Well, it's like your entire routine and structure was completely torn down. And to rebuild that off of what? You're given so many limitations and yeah, and everyone having to go through that. That's a great example to use that it makes a very like clear image in what it is to experience burnout, especially with such a thing like COVID.
yeah, yeah, and just like Groundhog Day, like every day the same
Yeah,
thing, and then
yeah,
it's like, "Oh, like this trip is canceled because they have too many players with COVID, or we
yeah,
have too many players with COVID," or we had some games where we were struggling to have enough people, and even that year I had the most opportunity that I had ever had to like get court time and
yeah,
play. And it's hard to feel excited about that when I'm like our bench was separated 6 feet, and so I couldn't even talk to my teammates during the games. Then you're getting
yeah.
out there. We had a horrible record. It was just so tough. And even when I think about like the non-COVID years, just the burnout really comes from, I mean, there's just so many things to prioritize.
Hmm.
And I think they say it like like in your first orientation when you get to Cal, it's like there's 3 things: there's athletics, academics, and a social life, and you can't pick all 3. And the burnout comes from either trying to pick all 3 or just picking 2 and letting one fall to the wayside. I think even that situation brings its own sort of burnout because you're not finding
Hmm.
success in all the areas.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and then having the burnout to try and balance all three and putting the same exact amount of effort and time into all of those where you're just going to completely spread yourself thin.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say like balance like wasn't just a noun, it was like an active verb,
Yeah,
like you're
yes, playing both
constantly
sides. Versatile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I've heard you mention coaches, right? Coach George. But before we get into Coach George, because I do want to ask about Coach. Um, being coached by women and the dynamic between a player and a coach, what has your experience been like?
Hmm. I mean, I think it's incredibly refreshing, like in the women's college space, how many female coaches there are. And I had the privilege of being coached by like a majority female staff all of my years there. And I don't know, I feel like that, level that might exist, like whether people mean to or not, of sexism,
Mm-hmm.
is stripped away because this is someone who is a woman who's played basketball, who's, expecting these things from you, and who knows what you're going through and knows how hard it is, and is still going to expect that from you,
Mm-hmm.
and is not going to say, oh, you're doing this because of X, Y, and Z. Like she sees you as a competitor, you're competing, you're overcoming, it's hard.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's something, I mean, it's hard to replicate, like someone who's actually done what you've done and competed against women and can feel it in that way. And I know there's incredible male women's basketball coaches out there, but yeah, I just think having been only coached at the collegiate level by women, it's just an incredible experience.
Yeah. I can only imagine. I think it, seeming that it is very positive of what you've gone through, and that is amazing with your coaches and how you've connected with them and how they've shown up for you as your coach. Have you ever experienced with any coaches, whether it was a woman or a man, of having to shrink parts of yourself to fit into the mold of their system?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, like I mentioned, like my middle school team, and my high school team, and I was incredibly emotional. Like, I mean, like any teenage girl is. And like I get frustrated, like at games, at practices. I'm like, damn, like it just wasn't going the way I wanted to, and I'd cry. And I mean, I'm not as much of a crier now, but at the time, it was waterworks.
Yeah.
And this would drive like my male coaches insane because I had
Mm,
primarily male coaches. at least in like the travel space, which is like that's where they're really like squeezing it out of
Yeah.
you, you know? And I would just be like on the verge of tears, like if not actively crying. And I think it was constantly this push and pull of like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I
Like,
don't
just see
know.
it start, you're just welling up. Like, no, put it back in, girl.
Yeah, like I'm trying to like tamp it down.
Yeah.
And then I think like when I had female coaches, I just didn't have that problem.
That's so interesting.
And so
Do you think it's the way that they communicated in their delivery and how they, saw wherever you were falling short or experiencing those negative emotions, that the way that they delivered and responded to you was more comforting and safe than what you experienced with these male coaches?
I mean, it very well might have been. It's hard to look back on it too,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And like,
and to like put yourself back in that position as well.
yeah. And I think about really like it was that middle school team, like, and there were some tears in high school too, but like that middle school team, like it just felt so serious, and like I just couldn't
You
overcome.
were traveling during this time too, right?
Yeah.
So that's like a whole other part of it as well.
Yeah, and like you're so young, and like it requires so much, like your parents doing so much, and like
Yeah.
you're really young and you're realizing, oh my gosh, like my parents are paying thousands of
You
dollars.
don't even see that side of it too when your frame of reference is completely limited.
Yeah, and they have 3 other kids to raise, and they're working out schedules, like who's going to drive her here and who's going to drive her there, and like all of those things. And I think just the pressure, I don't know, it felt so acute. Especially, yeah. And I feel like having a male coach, it just felt different. Like, it's ultimately it's a man yelling at you. Like it's the context of basketball, and they want to see you be great. And I don't think anybody that was ever coaching me had malicious intent, but it definitely sat differently, like as a, developing woman. And yeah, it's just so interesting.
Do you think that when you were being yelled at that it was more helpful or more like destructive in your growth?
And that's hard to even
I know.
articulate. And so I think even about like my high school coach, Michael Pruitt, one of my favorite guys of all time.
All right, MP, shout out.
Coach Prue, he raised his voice, I think, once at me my entire 4 years there. And I literally remember the game it was. He pulled me out. He yelled at me. He put me back in. He pulled me out again. He goes, I'm sorry. I should not have yelled at you.
We love a self-aware man. We love a self-aware man. It's wonderful.
And then he put me back in there, and I needed to be yelled at. So I think, this can be, debated until the end.
It can, yeah, I know. It's just so interesting to hear everyone's take on it, of like,
Yeah.
okay, what did you experience in that? And what does that look like? Was it helpful? And it also just goes with like your personality type and how you register things and what's going to be helpful. And it's just shown so different because all of us are different. Like what's going to work for you may not work for me. And so to hear your side of that, yeah, that's interesting.
And I think like it's also different over time. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
ready for that when I was, 9, 10, 11, like experienced such like acute, anger from someone
Yeah.
or frustration. Like, I'm still learning the game. I'm still growing those
Yeah,
skills. Like
yeah.
I'm still figuring out my body.
Still in the development process of the sport.
Yeah. And then, you get to high school and like, okay, like you're getting it. Like they feel like the opportunities for leaps are, more minute, I guess. You're getting more into the details, like what separates a good player from a great player, like that sort of thing. And then you get to college, and I feel like the level of respect, like everyone who's there is accomplished, who has all these accolades, has championships and MVPs and all these, they had their pick of all these amazing schools. And so the coaching is really just coaxing out more greatness and bringing together the team. It's less, someone directly yelling at you because, you're holding the team back in that way. I felt like that was just much less common. And so, yeah, I think it just changes over time.
How many assistant coaches are there usually?
I'm like counting in my head. I feel like
I know I saw it literally like that meme with all those equations. Like that was you just now, and I literally just saw it.
Literally. So like there's, to my understanding, there's either 3 or 4
Okay.
assistants typically. And then you'll also have perhaps someone who's like a video coordinator. So they're like cutting film, but they're cutting film, so they're probably coaching you a little bit because they've seen all of the film.
Yeah.
And they've watched your film too, and they know what you're doing. You'll have like but in the end of the day, like it is a game, and you're going to be okay no matter what, and you're going to walk away with so much more than basketball accolades. It's going to be the people that come with you. It's going to be the skills that come out of it. It's going to be like your resilience, and even when you've mentioned a couple of times like the glass half fullness, I think so much of that has come from basketball and the resilience that it built in so many different ways within me. So yeah, I think that coming and there's a team of you know 12 to 15 girls, but like the support staff is like half of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
A lot of moving parts, a lot of people,
a lot of
a lot of
people.
roles at once.
Yeah, and like different personalities and different teaching styles, and so
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
again, like I had amazing head coaches, but and ultimately Charmin, who I'm going to shout out, she became head coach my sophomore year and then through the rest of my time there. But my freshman year, she was, I believe, associate head coach. And I just remember when I think about how welcomed I felt and how part of the team I felt and how important my contributions felt, which is, it can be difficult as a walk on, right? Like it's not the one to one of, oh, I'm going to have stats to look at, or I'm trying to increase X, Y, and Z, or I'm trying to fight for minutes. Like it was really, I'm showing up at practice every day. What am I doing to make my teammates better? What am I doing to, make this drill faster paced or harder or something? And I think about the ways that she coached me up, took me seriously, and held me to those standards. And same with Deli, who I shouted out, like just a goofy guy who also knows the scout and would coach me to be, this shooting guard from the other team, or even if I was, playing being a power forward that uses her left hand, only like knowing the intricacies there, and it made it really fun. Like having those people who of course they're coaching my teammates up and they're on the court, but like even in games, keeping me engaged on the bench, keeping me, top of mind when they're thinking about, okay, how are we going to run this drill? How can we utilize Sierra here? So yeah, I mean, obviously all of them, but
Yeah.
those ones come to mind.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. No, it was very detailed and very easy to understand why those would stand out to you. Absolutely. Did you ever feel, because you had mentioned to me prior to this that you are now retired from basketball right now. So, had you ever felt like towards the end of your journey or ever had those thoughts like, who am I if I'm not playing? Or did you feel that your identity was connected to basketball? And kind of if that ever was something you experienced or just kind of what it looked like, once you said, yeah, I'm retired now, this part, I'm moving forward. And like, what was that for you?
Yeah, so when I think about like the tail end of my basketball career at Cal, like COVID was my second to last year, and then I stuck around for another year after. Um, and that was the year where, I had the sinus issues and I wasn't traveling as much. And I think that combined with the COVID experience was like very sobering. And, I, again, like I was a walk on. I didn't have any delusions of grandeur that I was going to be drafted to the WNBA or anything like that. But there's other opportunities, right? There's leagues and there's opportunities to get your masters like abroad and play for teams out there. I've had friends who'd had success like playing in Rome and stuff like that.
Oh,
And so
cool. What an awesome opportunity, too. It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and there's so many opportunities to play professionally, obviously at like different skill levels and everything. And I'm sure I could have explored that, but just the way that those last 2 years went, and I really had the opportunity to invest in my like, and academics have always been important to me. And so being able to invest in my academics that way, I got my master's from Cal as well, in public health, and thinking about what was I going to do with that? How was I going to make the most of this, again, amazing degree that I had the opportunity to get from the top universities? I was just more excited about where I could go professionally, um, rather than, I guess, where I could also go professionally with basketball. And so I was just very at peace with that, knowing that, I have so many friends who play, and like I love following their teams. My parents, it's been fun watching. Like we'd always fill out men's, March Madness brackets growing up, and growing up it wasn't even called March Madness for the women. It was just the NCAA tournament. Again, showing my age. But now they only fill out like a women's bracket. They follow the WNBA, they follow Unrivaled. And having that, like obviously I love basketball and it's always part of me, but I'm also like it's set me up for such amazing opportunities in the professional world, and I work in healthcare and I get to, also be in tough situations that I feel very well prepared for because I've been through that gauntlet. I know what it means to work hard, to collaborate, to be pushed to the limits, and so I feel like that. I mean, it can translate into any industry, but I feel like it's particularly benefited me.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's really amazing. Like, and like for you to be so grateful for your journey and accepting it and being like, what's next? Like, and just having that sense of contentment with everything you've had from a child up into college, and kind of having that content within you and having that joy that you've had and can look back at it like, knowing you did. So that's amazing. Let me just look at some other questions I have. So since you're retired, you just told me what that means and everything like that. So now I'm going to kind of go into like my more lighthearted questions, and then we'll kind of just end on more of like a serious little note. So my first question is, did you have a basketball crush growing up? And if you did, who was it?
Oh my gosh, basketball crush.
Yeah. And obviously that evolves too,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, but like a staple. You're like, yeah, OG.
Oh gee. I feel like Ron Artest, the now Meta World Peace. I was obsessed with him growing up. Um, and then Jordan Poole, like in more recent years, but like when I was in college, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would say those two. I had friends who were really big into Blake Griffin. I've never really seen that one.
Yeah, no.
Never really.
Yeah. Everyone has their own thing, so that's totally cool. It's just not for us. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
cool. So I also wanted to ask, when you're getting hyped up, ready for a game, what is your like pre-game hype song? Did you have one? Like what would be like, yeah, okay, I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, that's like such a good one.
There's so many. And it like could depend on like your attitude that day too, or like how you want to, display yourself.
Yeah. Ooh. There's this like Mike Dimes song.
Oh.
I think
Can
it's
you like give
called
me a little taste of it?
I think it's called No, I'm not going to. But I'm definitely more of like a rap R&B before
Okay, cool.
before games. Like I feel like Drake has always gone like triple platinum in
Yeah.
my pregame
Yeah,
playlist.
he's there.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely the vibe that I go to. I know some people listen to like worship or like
Yeah.
even classical, but I've definitely
Really?
been, yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, different
Oh,
strokes.
different. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess too, like with, having our different styles and everything, if you were to like ask your teammates of what your playing style is, what would they describe you as?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, I feel like I wish I would have asked my friends. I would say I've definitely been described as more of a like strategic player just because, I'm not faster than anybody. I'm not physically going to
Yeah.
to be, speeding by anybody or getting by on athletics alone. Um,
And also it showed that at like 5, 6, 7 years old too. Where it's like
yeah.
your mind was focused on, like a third eye, looking at all the other things going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I can, see the patterns and that sort of thing. Um, and then yeah, like I feel like especially through college, like I definitely more specialized as just like a shooter.
Yeah.
Um,
What position were you mostly in college?
I would say mostly a shooting guard.
Okay, nice.
Sometimes would play like power forward, so the four position, but definitely more of a stretch four. So
Were you most comfortable as a shooting guard?
I would say so, which is odd because definitely not my identity in high school. And then you get to college, and again, things just translate differently. People are
Yeah.
different sizes. You're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
you're not as fast, like that sort of thing. So
What was
yeah.
your position in high school?
I was like firmly a 4,
Okay.
but at the time, I'm like one of the taller people on my team, and
Yeah.
then I get to college and I'm like the third shortest or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Very,
That's
very
funny.
sobering. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think also like your dream team. I've asked you this, and so I'm very curious of who your dream team is.
Okay, it's gonna be a mix of like future or not future, past and current.
Okay, yeah,
Future's
future.
crazy.
All right, sure. I thought of the
Um,
singer. I'm like, okay, different take. That's fine.
I know Justin Bieber
Yeah,
future.
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, Asia Wilson has to be on there.
Okay,
I mean,
per.
4-time MVP. Don't even know how many championships she has at this point. She scares me.
What's her position?
I think she's a center
Center.
technically,
Oh,
but
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
she does everything.
Yeah.
I'm scared of her.
Yeah.
Um, then I'd have to say Candace Parker.
Okay.
I'd probably have her at the 4. I'm a SoCal kid. I remember watching her on the Sparks like growing up. I think she's the only ever Rookie of the Year and and Player of the Year.
Nice.
And I just remember like chills. I have a T-shirt hung up in my childhood
Yeah.
bedroom that's signed from like the camp I got to go to.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just a superstar in my mind. Maya Moore. I feel like her basketball journey. She found love and left basketball, and she was just a menace out there. And I think just so accomplished over like a comparatively shorter career than some of these other girls, and I'd love to have her on my team. And then we talk about combative women and women who stand up and have received those comments about
Yeah.
unsportsmanship or unsportsmanship like conduct, that sort of thing. But Diana Taurasi, she is on my team.
That's
Again,
right.
I'm scared of her.
That's right. I love to. You're like, I'm scared of you. Come on my team.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just tough, a competitor to the
Yeah.
end. How many gold medals
And
does she
challenging
have?
you also, right? Having you be challenged.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also like to round it out, I'd put Sabrina Ionescu on my team. Got to play against her in college.
Nice.
And when I think about the growth of the game, obviously we think of like Caitlin Clark, we think about Angel Reese, we think about, the seemingly meteoric rise. And when I was in college, like I remember her connections to Kobe, to Steph Curry came to our game when we played against them in the Bay. Um, like her, playing with or in the shooting contest at the NBA All Stars, like her commitment to greatness, also as someone who isn't the most athletic person on the court, she's just nuts,
Yeah.
like about her craft and
Yeah.
about getting better. I'd have her at the 1. So that's my dream team.
I love that. Period. All right.
Yeah.
My final question for these, and then I'll get to my very last one. Your favorite currently your favorite WNBA team and your favorite NBA team. So I don't think we've discussed, and I'm very curious.
WNBA is hard. I feel like I've been a Sparks fan growing up, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I don't feel like as much allegiance
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, mm, I would honestly, like right now, I would say the Valkyries.
Okay.
I think they just had such an insane season. I think it's about time. Like the Bay Area had a women's team. I think they're just exciting to watch. Think about all of the growth and how many games they've sold out, and just what incredible showing for a first year
Yeah.
team. I'm just really excited to plug into that. And then like I have really strong connections to the Bay just because my dad's from there, my family's from there. Um, and then right now, I would say my favorite basketball team is the
I was
Warriors.
gonna say, how do you feel about Klay Thompson on the Mavericks now?
Weird to think about. And I mean, don't even get my dad started
No,
about.
I could go into all these different things because my number one team is the Mavericks. So he's on that team now, and so there's a lot I could say as well. So me and your dad should meet up.
Yeah, like, I think ultimately it is a business,
Mhm.
but you also think about like loyalty and you think about
Yeah.
dynasties and the
On the
Splash
dynamic duo
Brothers.
too of things, and yeah, and it's like Klay Thompson from the Warriors, and you have AD from the Lakers, right? Then Luca from the Mavericks, and kind of how that all looks. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it gets so convoluted, and and then like I think Seth Curry just got picked up and then they waived him like almost immediately from the Warriors.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, that's just embarrassing.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, so I feel like the men's game I follow less and less just because I don't live at home and I'm not watching with my parents all the time.
Yeah.
But I always live for the drama.
Yeah. Right. I love the drama. And so just to like conclude it, if you were to, see your 7-year-old self on the courts and see the journey and the hardships and adversity you've gone through in your journey, where you are and who you are now, what would you tell that little girl?
Oh my gosh. I mean, she would be shocked. I feel like she would not even comprehend where we ended up or what we ended up doing. I feel like I would tell her honestly that it's not that serious because I think at some points, and especially when I think about like how emotional it got and like how, pent up it felt and, during those really hard years and those frustrations when I think about burnout, like it is a game and it's going to give you so much, but in the end of the day, like it is a game and you're going to be okay no matter what. And you're going to walk away with so much more than basketball accolades. It's going to be the people that come with you. It's going to be the skills that come out of it. It's going to be like your resilience. And even when you've mentioned a couple of times, like the glass half fullness, I think so much of that has come from basketball and the resilience that it built in so many different ways within me. So yeah, I think just reminding her like it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be having fun and you're going to come out of this okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to be better for it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. No, I think you're so well spoken and you're very sure of yourself and know who you are in that journey. And I'm just so happy and thankful that you shared that with me and for having you here. And so thank you so much for coming. And this has been such a joy. It's been wonderful.
Well, thank you. It's been such a
Yeah,
pleasure. I
I
feel
know.
like so honored to be
No,
here.
yeah, I know. You're my very first one, too. I know,
Ah.
starting off right. And if you or anyone you know would like to share their story, please DM the Other Side podcast on Instagram. And I'd love to hear the other side of you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Bye bye.